Across the Board with Ian the Colonel here on hawkradio.org and acrosstheboardradio.com. Again, from bands that have been around for years, 20, 30 years, to bands that will be around for another 20 to 30 years. This next band, love what I hear so far. Kind of a super group, I would say, to a degree, with guys in this band from all kinds of other great bands. But Sunflower Dead is the new project coming up with. This thing came out of Droid, out of Buckethead, out of so many different bands. But we have Michael, lead singer, with us right now. Michael, welcome to the show.
What's up, guys?
How you doing, man? So tell us a little bit.
I'm doing good.
Good. Tell us a little bit about how Sunflower Dead, came together. Again, we talked about touring members of In This Moment and Buckethead and Droid, which is one of my favorite metal bands,
Nice.
from a while ago that is unfortunately not around anymore. But really fortunate for you because now we have Sunflower Dead. But talk about how that culminated.
I mean, it basically came about from the fact that all the guys in the band have known each other from the LA music scene probably for the last 12 years.
Okay.
And we've all either played shows together or toured together and or been really close friends. So it just kind of worked out that me and Jabu, the one guitar player, were writing songs. And we were like, you know what? We played them to some management. And they were like, wow, this is great stuff. Get a band. And it just so happened at the time we needed a band, Jamie from Droid called us and said, what are you guys doing? Droid just broke up. And that was really before anybody knew that. And we were like, well, look, man, we got these songs. Listen to them. If you're into it, maybe we'll put something together.
Mm-hmm.
And it just moved forward from there. We brought Louie on from Buckethead, and then we got Jimmy, who had toured within this moment, so playing drums.
That sounds like a great...
Build it from there.
Yeah, and you guys have a great collection, of talent there, and it comes across in the music. What do you think...
Cool.
What is the aspirations for this band? I mean, do you want to ultimately take over the world or not stop at the world and take over the whole universe?
Yeah, I would like to take over the universe. That was like the goal from day one. This isn't just to do it. The music industry's too hard nowadays to do it just to do it. We're coming out, with our fists swinging. We're here to take over.
What do you think is part of what makes your sound unique? I mean, when you listen to the music that I've heard, what makes that sound so unique that no one else sounds like you and makes the band the interesting entity that it is?
And I think the thing is, and we've been talking about this a lot in rehearsals, I think the thing is that on our record, we made a conscious effort for this, but you really hear all five of us playing. You're not hearing songs written by one or two guys and everybody else that did their parts. You're not hearing guitar parts on the record recorded by one guitar player for tightness. We let everybody do what they do specifically, and that's what you're hearing. You're hearing, it's almost like the Guns N' Roses Appetite for Destruction approach. You're hearing all five guys playing.
I can see where you're coming from.
Yeah, he was saying he sees where you're coming from on that, and I think that's a great way to do it. I mean, you've got to let everybody have their individual talent on the album as well. And speaking of that, we haven't heard every song yet because you're so new as a band. But
yeah.
I see listed that you're not only vocals, you're also piano. But wait for it, you also play the accordion.
Yeah, I do.
In a metal band.
Yeah.
How does that work?
It's just like it works pretty cool. I kind of obviously I'm not playing polka or mariachi. Obviously, I kind of use it as like an eerie keyboard, and then the guys and people have kind of called it an inhuman lung when I play, just because the way I move it, and it just sounds creepy and adds tones, almost like what a keyboard would do, but it sounds a little different, and it's visually killer. Kids will love it just to see it, and I don't think anybody else is doing that. I mean, there's a couple bands that have accordion in it, but not how we're using it.
Yeah, that's definitely unique.
Inhuman Lung, that's a dope name for a band as well, or an album. Inhuman Lung.
Yeah, it is, right?
Yeah, I like it, man, for sure. And you guys have, you recorded this actually at Temple Studios, and we've had Fear Factory on the show before. So friends of, or fans of Ray Herrera and those guys. And that's actually owned by Ray Herrera and Be Real. Talk about the experience of.
Both really cool.
Yeah, I was gonna say, talk about the experience of recording in that studio.
That studio was so kicked back and laid back. I mean, those guys are so nice. Raymond, for anyone who's ever met him, it's just such a welcoming person. And when you go into a studio, it's kind of like whatever you need, whatever you need to be happy. And we just went in. We worked with their house engineer, Jeremy Blair. Mm-hmm. We ended up having mixed our record, and I tell you, just everything fell into place. I guess it was really happy accident. Just kept working for us, so it's great.
Now, we know members of Buckethead in this moment, to hit Creeper, Droid, all of that. Michael, tell us a little bit more about you specifically, your musical background.
As a young kid, I obviously started taking piano lessons like every kid when I was younger. And I started singing probably death metal when I was 12 or 13. I was really influenced by bands like Death, and Obituary, and Morbid Angel, and I just loved it. And then as we went along, I started going, I really love singers, too. So, Chris Cornell, Bon Scott, Steve Perry from Journey is my ultimate idol. And I just started combining the two kind of colors, and then that's who I am.
I kind of feel that if you say like the mix of Steve Perry in there too. I
can hear that in the
I
vocals,
kind of
yeah.
feel that. I see what you got. That it's a unique sound because I don't think anyone sounds like that. But you can definitely tell where the influences come in on that.
Good range, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Cool.
Awesome. What do you think is the biggest thing missing from the hard rock scene nowadays? I mean, I know you said a lot of guys don't get to do what they want to do, and they don't mix the album so that every person in the band can shine. What do you think is the biggest thing holding back the hard rock scene right now?
I personally believe that the state of the industry is what's holding back the hard rock scene, because it's such everything relies on everything else to keep the wheel turning, and
right.
as there's less support from the labels because they're not making money, there's less development for bands, and bands need development. If you're not developed, it's a crapshoot whether you hit on your first record. So
right.
Bands back in the old days were developed over 3 or 4 records. It just doesn't happen anymore.
That's very true. That's a very valid point.
You gotta have to do it yourself.
Yeah.
And that's actually what was my next question I was going to say was I know a lot of people nowadays really, they pride themselves on being able to put out their own projects independently. Do you think that there's a bigger advantage being an independent artist or being a signed artist?
It just depends on your situation, what
Yeah.
I'm saying? It's like, I can't speak for other bands that are signed in their deals. I just know that, we've all heard the horror stories.
Yeah.
And yet, we've all heard the bands that are independent doing themselves and not being able to get the tours and get the things that they need to do to get to the people to be successful. So it's just kind of like we're in a very unique situation because of who we know, the product we have, the finances we have. So we were able to kind of skate through some of the loopholes, but I don't see every band being afforded that opportunity. It's really difficult these days.
So you think that there's I guess you would say the indie way is the way to do it the way you really want to, but the way with the labels gives you more connections, gives you more accessibility, if you will.
It could. Yeah, it could. I mean, not in
Okay.
theory, yeah, but it could. Then again, we all know bands that signed to a label and then nothing happens.
That's very true.
They kill it. So it's pretty much like you really do need everything to fall in place, and I think every band needs that. It's not just talent or luck, it's everything. You need everything to fall in place to be successful.
Across the board with Ian the Colonel here with Michael from one of the world's newest bands, Sunflower Dead. Their website is sunflowerdead.com, facebook.com/sunflowerdead, Twitter, Reverb Nation. You guys are out there everywhere. The debut album is going to be called Sunflower Dead as well, and the first single will be Make Me Drown, and the video is coming up for this. Talk a little bit about what's the video going to look like for this?
The video is pretty bitchin'. I mean, we went with the concept of the story of the band, and if you watch our EPK, there's 2 little blurbs on it, film rolls that tell the story of the band, and we kind of went with the idea of introducing that story in the first video where, we are noticing things that are going wrong that people are doing, and we are basically seeking out vengeance on them. It's a little violent, actually. I actually curb somebody in the video, but it's fun. It's entertainment. It's not like we're serious.
Okay,
So.
yeah, because the album is out on Bloody Bat Records, by the way, Bloody Bat Records LLC.
Yeah.
And let's talk about, from what I'm seeing from you guys so far, I don't want to say performance art, but you guys kind of you're not just a band up there. Like you said, you bring that sort of backstory with you. I mean, you guys sort of have that, kind of dead look, kind of a Marilyn Manson, earlier Mudvayne type of look to you as well,
Right.
like an Avatar, maybe a Swedish metal
Right.
band. Talk about that as well. Like, what's the difference between just being a band and having a band with a story of almost characters?
Well, I mean, anybody on any given night can go see a band that looks like a bunch of guys in T-shirts and jeans jumping around. I mean,
Right.
you can see that anywhere. We wanted to entertain people. Like, I'll be honest, I saw Kiss about 5 years ago for the first time, which is really weird, right, to not see Kiss. And I just went, you know what? this is great. It's total entertainment. And I was like, that would be really fun to do, but with a little bit more serious music.
Mm-hmm.
And that was it. We want to entertain people and have fun and give them a show. I mean, you got to kind of give everything you can do nowadays to be successful. And I want the music to stand apart and the image and the show, so people walk away going, right on, this is cool. I want to buy this. I want to be a part of it.
Right.
Yeah, and definitely have the image and the sound is working really well together, too.
A great logo, too, by the way, for the Sunflower Dead.
Absolutely.
Thank you. Yeah, we had a really cool kid come up with that. He just said, we said, here's a couple songs, and that's what he came up with. And we were like, great.
Yeah, it's cool.
Soulflower, I love it.
Yeah, it has like the dying sunflower wrapped around a skull. Yeah, it's awesome. Man, I love it. Go.
Yeah, thanks.
I know you also did a cover of The Police's Every Breath You Take, and The Police's being one of my favorite bands of all times. What made you decide to cover that song specifically, and what was your approach to the cover?
Why we decided to do that song was kind of a joke originally. Me and Jabu were in a bar, and he was really, really drunk. And I said to him, you want to do a cover on the record? And he was like, yeah. He goes, let's do that song from Top Gun by that girl singer. And I was like, what's that? He goes, Every Breath You Take. And I said, that's not Every Breath You Take. You're thinking of...
Take My Breath Away.
I forget what the hell it's called, to be honest. But I was like, but we should do Every Breath You Take, because that song is bitchin'. And it's about, it's about a stalker. And I was like, this will fit perfect on our record. And then when I looked at the guys, I said, look, we're going to do this, except I'm going to rewrite the arrangement. I want the song to have a lot of dynamics to it. I didn't really care about the heaviness, but I wanted that up and down dynamic, because their version just kind of like rolls along and, it's hypnotizing, but it never crescendos, and I wanted ours to crescendo to really put our own stamp on it.
Yeah, I think you're talking about Take My Breath Away by Berlin. I do believe.
Exactly.
Yeah, the old school there. You know what? Now that thinking about it, seeing you guys, looking at the picture of you guys right now, the logo, hearing the music and everything like that, here's a song that I would like to hear you guys cover if you ever decided to do another cover. I love your original stuff, not saying you have to. I'm just thinking, talking about stalkers and everything, Shame by Stabbing Westward. What do you think about that?
Stabbing Westward, they were a cool band.
Yeah.
I have to go listen. I remember they were a really cool band. I used to like their stuff a lot when they were out.
Yeah, we've had them on the show as well, and the Dreaming.
Chris Hall,
is the new band.
His project's The Dreaming
right?
now.
Yeah. But that's good band.
Actually,
good song that might be covered.
You guys be good bands to tour together too.
Yeah,
The Dreaming and Sunflower Dead.
Listen,
Did they put a record out recently?
They did.
They did, yeah.
Indeed, they did. Yeah, man. So listen, we're just putting it all together. We're putting together a tour here. You know what I'm saying?
Hey, you know what? That's how it happens.
It's like Warped Tour, except 50 times cooler.
Absolutely.
And heavier.
Michael, if you knew the world was going to end or your life is wrapping up here, you had maybe 10 to 15 minutes left in your existence, what is the last song that you would want to hear or perform? Either way, hear or perform, yours or anybody else's?
The last song I'm going to hear is going to be a Journey song. It's probably going to be Faithfully by Journey. I mean, that's one of the greatest vocal performances in a rock song ever, as far as I'm concerned, the way it's so velvety smooth. But the last song I'm going to perform is the last track on our record. It's called The Pointed Decision. And it's funny because me and Jabu actually wrote that song when we were kids. We were about 16 years old, and it showed up on this record, and it fits perfect. And that's the song I would like to perform if the world was going to end.
Damn, when you were 16, okay.
Interesting.
Silverchair action.
Yeah, no doubt.
Yeah.
Now, I mean, the other thing, too, is, and I think what a lot of people want to see you guys live, and once they hear the music, what can we expect from you in the future after this album, and what's next? I imagine a big tour. I imagine then starting to put together plans for Universal hostile takeover.
I can see you guys being big in Europe, as well
yeah,
as the US, obviously.
I did an interview in Europe, and that's what they said. They said, you guys can have a European sound. And I was like, I just think it's because of the drama in our music. A lot of American bands don't have that much drama. They have more just grit. But what's our plans? We're doing, we just submitted for a bunch of fall tours. Our goal is to be on tour. In fact, we will be on tour by the end of September.
Okay.
And then we're basically going to tour for about 18 months. We're going to push this record.
18 months. Wow.
Yeah, we're going to do a year-and-a-half cycle. We're going to push it as long as we can. We've been talking to all types of people, and we're going to push this record. We believe in it. We have our CD release party on August 17th in Long Beach at Harvell's, and we got zombie go-go dancers. We have werewolf belly dancing show before we play. It's going to be bitchin'.
I want to go.
Okay, the zombie belly dancers I'm into. The werewolf.
It was zombie. It was zombie
go-go dancers. Yeah, the hairy belly dancers. I don't think I'm as into.
I don't think they're gonna be hairy. I think what they do is they make their makeup look like they're half human and half turning into wolves on the other side. It's gonna be
I
so
could get
cool.
into that. I think.
Yeah. Oh yeah. And then it's gonna be a fun time. So yeah, that's gonna be great. I can't wait. But yeah, we're gonna tour our butts off, and you're gonna see us with bigger bands, and then we'll see how it builds up. We have a video, coming out. It'll be serviced in about a month, and then, we're going for it. We've arrived basically.
I have this image of the zombie go-go dancers in my head, by the way. So you've got to bring that whole. It's got to be like a touring show. I mean, not just bring these. Right. Bring that around everywhere. Bring the dancers for sure.
That would be cool. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
That would be cool.
Now, just on a quick personal note, 18 months is a long time to be gone from home. How do you deal with that? I mean, and not only how do you deal with the external, family and friends and that kind of stuff, but within the band, how do you deal with, 3-4 other dudes for 18 months and not kill each other?
You know what? We were so patient in making this record and taking our time that we've been preparing for this for a long time. So it's not like we just threw the record together and we're like, oh, we're going to go out and tour.
Mm-hmm.
We've been preparing for this mentally, physically, financially, with our friends, our families. So it's kind of like been a nice, slow process to get to this point. So we're ready. I mean, we're ready to do it.
Again, Sunflower Dead is the website, or Facebook.com/Sunflower Dead, Twitter, Sunflower Dead, Reverb Nation, Sunflower Dead. I don't see a MySpace listed. Good, because I don't think that even exists anymore.
MySpace
but
sucks.
in any case, don't waste your time with that. So, but again, self-titled debut, and look for the single coming out soon. The single/video, Make Me Drown. Looking forward to it, man. And Michael, we appreciate the time, and just look forward to this coming out. So again, check them out, Sunflower Dead. And once again, go see bands live. Don't just buy the album. Buy the entire album for one thing, but buy it at the show if you get a chance.
Buy merch. That's how the bands make their money.
It honestly is. Yeah, there's so many people with Kickstarter campaigns. Mm-hmm.
One cool thing we're doing is the record is also coming out on vinyl.
Nice.
Excellent.
And we got a horror artist who's doing a completely different cover. He's doing this gnarly version of what we look like for the vinyl covers. So that's going to be a great collector's item.
Yeah, that's cool. We'll have to get a copy of that so we can give that away.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, that'd be nice. It's a nice prize. So, excellent. Well, check it out then, Sunflower Dead. We'll keep you informed as well. I'm E. He's the Colonel. Back in a few minutes here on Across the Board on hawkradio.org.
And acrosstheboardradio.com.